Good afternoon, everyone. And we really are grateful that you are joining us here for this Sunday afternoon program. My name is Paul Bonitto, Associate Director, Undergraduate Admission at Boston College. Let me be one of the many people, especially on this particular webinar, that is so grateful for your interest in your application, and even more importantly, your acceptance to Boston College. We're hoping to welcome you here in the fall. This particular session is part of our It's part of our Explore Boston College, of all the sessions that we're doing, trying to highlight the AHANA experience for students who are coming in. This particular session is called Diverse Communities at Boston College, to highlight the support networks for success. And on this call, we're going to highlight a few of the offices and a few of the faces that might become the support network for you if you decide to enroll here in the fall. And it is a 4-year journey. So many of these people will be in your lives, not just for the 4 years, but even after your 4 years. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to our moderator for the hour. And the moderator is Reverend James Hairston, who is for Campus Minister for Multi-Faith Programs here at the University, Boston College. Welcome, Reverend James.
Thank you. Thank you. It's definitely a privilege to be in front of you all. It's quite interesting for me. My job at Boston College is the Campus Minister for Multi-Faith Programs. And serving that capacity, my position is to connect with all the students of varying different faith traditions in order to help them be able to serve and worship and connect to the divine how they see fit. In addition to that, I'm also a BC alum. I graduated class in 2004. And the blessing and privilege of that is not only I'm able to give back to my alma mater, but I'm able to work with some fantastic people who helped me along my journey here at Boston College. And also, you see me in my military uniform. I am also a chaplain in the Massachusetts National Guard, and I'm serving in that capacity, which once again adds and highlights to the love I have for Boston College, because normally if this was another job, I wouldn't be showing up. But because of my love and my affinity and connection to Boston College is why I made sure I carve out some time today to be able to walk you and walk with you in your journey to the heights. So I believe at this point, we're going around the horn for folks to introduce themselves and kind of give a little bit of a background of their departments. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know we're going alphabetical order. So whoever's next, feel free to step up and just kind of give a quick breakdown of who you are and your role at Boston College.
All right, I can get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Brittney Klein. I use she, her pronouns. I am a second-year graduate assistant in the Disability Services Office here at BC. So Boston College is a little bit unique in the way that we serve students with disabilities. So we actually have two offices, the Disability Services Office and the Connors Family Learning Center. So students with psychological, physical, medical, and or temporary disabilities, including students with learning disabilities and other types of disabilities, will register with the Disability Services Office. And the Connors Family Learning Center serves students who are solely diagnosed with learning disabilities and or ADHD. So our office is really here to help you throughout your whole journey at Boston College. Incoming students can begin to register around the first week of May, but we really help meet with you and talk through your needs and what might be helpful for you at Boston College. We implement academic, housing, dietary, and transportation accommodations, so kind of all across the board, however we can support you best. And we have staff members and graduate assistants who are here to assist you, so feel free to reach out. We're always here to answer questions.
Thank you, Brittney.
Hi, I'm Caroline Davis. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the Director for Student Outreach and Support Services here at BC. So my area actually oversees 3 different areas of support for students. So one is I do oversee the Office for Disability Services. So Brittney is part of my team. I also oversee support and outreach for our LGBTQ and questioning students. We provide a variety of programming for students, including mentoring for first-year students, an annual retreat, weekly discussion groups, and just support for students as they navigate being at BC and their sexual orientation and their gender identity. And then we also provide case management support for students who are having a hard time. So between me and another staff member, we meet with hundreds of students who are, something about their mental health or physical health or family circumstances or multiple things kind of happening at once have impacted their ability to be a student. And we help make sure that they're connected to resources, that they're connected to the supports that they need on campus, and that they're able to get their degree and to do what they want to be doing here at BC.
Excellent. Thank you, Caroline. Next, we'll have Drew Barksdale.
Good afternoon, everybody. Drew Barksdale. I'm an undergraduate career advisor in the Karl School of Management, and I'm also a CSOM alumnus that graduated back in 2017, so very recently. And I'm part of a team of 4. We service the Karl School student population, so around 2,200 students. We kind of have under our wing. We aren't the centralized career center, that's a separate unit, but we work hand in hand with them in programming and other campus events. Specifically, what my team does the best and where we help our students is we do resume critiques, cover letter critiques. We help prepare you for interview and the job search, and just anything career related, we provide services there. I'm also an instructor of a 1-credit class we have in the Karl School. It's called Career Accelerator, where we cover really the basics of your job search. So covering from resume all the way up to the strategy, finding a job and then implementing that strategy to get that internship or full-time position. And now specifically in my role, and what part of my role what I was hired to work on is to bring DE&I initiatives to the Karl School and make sure that we have programming centered around our minority students in the Karl School. So specifically in this past year that I've been in the role, we've implemented some diversity career fairs. We've had introductions to more resources that, STEM, diversity resources. So SEO, MLT, inroads as potential options for students to enroll in to kind of help further educate them and get them ready for their future careers. And then the last thing that we've done is fireside conversation chats with diverse professionals in different industries to kind of introduce freshmen, sophomore students to different career paths and options that are available to them. That's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it. Next up, we'll have Karl Bell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karl Bell. I serve as the Associate Director for TRIO Student Support Services here at Boston College. My office is called Learning to Learn. So we identify ourselves as the first generation home to all Boston College students. And so we work with students as they are coming to the university. We have a program called BC First College Transition Program. We also have a BC First Living Learning Community. And so these are 2 opportunities that you have as incoming Eagles, we hope, to really engage our office in a meaningful way. One, even before you arrive on campus in the fall for courses, and the other throughout your first year. Our office, as I mentioned before, is committed to all first-gen students and any student who has some difficulty transitioning from high school to college. We offer a course for academic credit. The course is called Applications of Learning Theory. That course basically is designed to help you transition from your high school study habits to your college study habits, from your high school examination preparation to your college examination preparation. We also assist students with preparation for graduate school. We offer a McNair exploratory program where students who have an interest in going to graduate school or getting a PhD can be engaged with the McNair exploratory program, or our McNair program, which allows students who are in their junior and senior years to write a thesis, to write a paper, to do research prior to making application to the PhD program. We also support students who are going off to graduate school, for law school, for medical school. We have MCAT support. And so there are lots of services that we offer to all of our students. And so I would say that we're very excited. I want to join my colleagues here in welcoming you, hopefully, to Boston College, and want you to know that we are here for you both today, as Paul mentioned earlier, both today as you begin your journey at BC and throughout your entire journey and beyond. So we're happy to have you here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Karl. And last but not least, Missy Von Bernard.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. And I'm just going to start by saying, look no further. This is the place that you need to be, on the heights. So I'm excited to introduce myself. My name is Yvonne McBarnett, and I am the director of the Montserrat Coalition Program. And I am a double eagle. And one of these days you will be. You just got to come to Boston College and you'll be that. But so what is Montserrat? Montserrat is an office in the Division of Mission and Ministry, and it supports the students of the highest financial need. Our mission is to provide students with access and support to all areas of students' life incorporated in a financial aid package. Now, a lot of times you get to these universities and you don't have that extra support. So my office that I oversee, I make sure that students that enter Boston College, they're not deprived by anything. A lot of times I tell the students, I said, don't worry about the dollar sign, because the dollar sign does not mean anything. It's your perseverance and your push that you're going to make it. And we are there by your side from freshman to freshman to senior year. And we strive to guide students in fulfilling the Jesuit initiative holistically. And I have to say, my AKA name is Miss Smiley. So if you're going to come to Boston College, you're going to have to meet Miss Smiley. So welcome to our webinar, and I look forward to seeing hopefully some of you. Thank you and bye-bye.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Smiley. So you got a nice around the world, if you will, of all the resources who are here, all the folks who are, some of the folks who are here at Boston College to be able to help you and aid you in your process as you matriculate and just ensure yourself for success. One of the things that we hear a lot is that Boston College in many ways becomes a family. I know for me sitting on this call, there's at least a good 3 of you all who I've had direct connections with at some point in my career, let it be as an undergrad, as an alum, or currently now as a staffer. And it's just truly a blessing to be able to have that. So I see that we have a question within the chat. So I want to make sure I at least address it. I'm not sure if I can answer it, but I'll read it out loud. In high school, I had extra time for exams as I have ADHD. Is it possible to have extra time at Boston College exams? Thank you in advance. So I'm not skilled to answer that question, but I see a couple of hands going up. So in any order, by all means, feel free to answer the question. I think Brittney.
Yep, I can answer that question. That's a great question. It is possible to have extended time on exams at Boston College as long as you are registered with one of the 2 offices that I mentioned. So either Disability Services or the Connors Family Learning Center. If you are solely diagnosed with ADHD, then you would register with the Connors Family Learning Center or CFLC, and you would get extended time through them. But that is definitely something that BC can help you with.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have another question. A question that was raised, how would I find out about available tutors? How would I find out about available tutors?
I can also answer that one. So I don't work for the CFLC, but our offices do work closely together. And so the Disability Services Office does not offer tutoring, but the Connors Family Learning Center does, and it's free and available to all Boston College students. So you can just search on their website for academic coaches, and they have tutors for different academic subject areas, as well as you can make recurring appointments. You can do a lot of things through the CFLC. They're a great resource.
Excellent. Thank you, Brittney. Another question. If I am a student identifying as LGBTQ, what kind of community is BC like? How would I go about finding a community of individuals who are like me?
I'm happy to chat a little bit about that. So, BC can be a hard place to navigate for an LGBTQ student, and I don't want to lie about that. I think the hardest part is really finding the community. And I think for students who access our support early on, that's much easier. So there's a lot of ways to find the LGBTQ community at BC. And really the first is going to be over the summer during orientation. Yeah. So we actually will, your OLs will be very knowledgeable about how to get connected in the community, but also our office and my students will run a mentoring program that starts over the summer where we'll connect incoming first year students with upper class students to just talk about what their experience is like, to get to know the LGBTQ community on campus, but also just to have someone who you can talk to about your experience in general. And then once the fall starts, we'll start programming and we'll start a full mentorship program. So last year we had or this current year, we have about 85 students who are part of our mentoring program, where we connect students to first year students to upper class students, and meet every month just to have a big, build community. We also run an annual retreat and weekly discussion groups and kind of other programming. And then there's also student groups on campus. So the GLC is part of UGBC and a place that students often find to be a good home for LGBTQ students.
Excellent. Thank you, Caroline. I know we just got a question. What is orientation? I think I can answer that, seeing that not only have I been through it at least once during as a student, but supporting it now as a member of the staff. Orientation essentially is a three-day event in which students actually go through Boston College and be able to kind of get an understanding of what the campus layout looks like and different resources that are available and things of that nature. So during orientation, you'll have an orientation leader who is an upperclassman student who walks you through effectively what BC is about in different ways which you can navigate, let it be academics, let it be the student clubs and organizations that Caroline spoke about, and things of that nature. Any of the folks with missions, if I left anything out, let me know. But that's kind of a broad stroke of what orientation is. You have a couple more questions. A lot of questions to make sure I get a good order here. In what year should I start my internship search? Which is a very fair question. So I guess Drew, you could probably take that question.
Yeah, I can take a jab at that question. So, it really depends on what you want to get into in your background as a student. For the most part, freshman year is more the exploratory year where we kind of develop and go through different career options and what interests you. And we really see from our standpoint, a lot of freshmen don't get internships, but there are some who can and who are more driven and get that internship, but it's not necessarily a requirement. We more see in the sophomore year, that's when students really start to say, okay, I'm interested in working in finance or something along that line. And I want to start making my resume tailored towards that certain industry. And I'll start doing work that positions myself well for my junior and senior year. And so with that being said, the most critical time that we talk about getting internship is by junior summer is really where we see a lot of students honing in on a career that they want to at least attempt and start their career in. And that junior year internship, usually if you do well, you perform well, you get good reviews by your managers and colleagues, it is that return offer that you get, and then it sets you up for your senior year to jump right into a career.
Excellent. Thank you, Drew. Thank you. It related to that, Drew, one of the things that I know was kind of a struggle for me when I went through the university was trying to navigate those sort of waters of internships and things of that nature, especially being first generation. And that kind of connects to the question that we have now. Is there a large community of first generation students, or will I feel alone on campus?
I'll answer these questions in reverse. This is Karl speaking. I would say no, absolutely not. You will not feel in any way alone. There are over 12% of our student population who identify as first-gen students. And our office, along with the Career Center, along with Montserrat, there are many offices across the campus who are focused, committed, and dedicated to your success as a first-gen student. And so, in fact, most recently, about a year ago, Boston College was recognized as one of the universities across the country who have a specific focus and interest and commitment to first-gen students. And so again, let me just talk about some of the services that are available to you as a first-gen student. From a careers perspective, the Career Center has a first-gen career peer program where in your very first year as a first-gen student, you'll be partnered with or paired with a Career Center professional who will help you to focus on developing your resume, tweaking your resume, improving your resume, and using those skills that you already have to translate them to your resume. As I mentioned also earlier, as a first-gen student, you also have access to our BC First Living Learning Community, which is an opportunity for you to join with other first-gen students in a housing situation where they are just like you are just like them, and you have immediately from day one a set of peers and connections here at Boston College. And then finally, if you go to your admitted student portal, you'll be able to access our BC First College Transition Program application. This program will kick off this summer with a virtual welcome to the program, and also just before classes begin in the fall semester, you'll have an opportunity to come to campus early, experience the campus on your own with your peers as a first-gen student, and get access to some of the folks that are on the screen right now, and many other of our administrators, staff, and faculty who are committed to your success. So absolutely not, you will not be alone, and there are over 12% of our student population who identify as first-gen students. So thank you for the question, and welcome to Boston College.
Excellent. Thank you, Karl. I'd stay along this track of question about the first-gen experience. We have a question. How is the Black experience at BC? I've heard a few things about it and how the admin is taking active steps towards enforcing a truly inclusive environment. I guess I'll go first. I see some comments. I guess folks support their thoughts. Honestly, it's not without its challenges. I'll say that for sure. It's definitely a situation where I know the administration is taking steps to address the inequalities that we see within our society, and we see the backlash of it now when we turn in this and the pain and hurt that's there. And the university addresses that in ways in which the individual departments address it. So within campus ministry, I know we address the student affairs, all those who represented today on this call, and many, many others who aren't on the Zoom call, definitely address it and address the social ills that we have. We have support systems that are here that definitely uplift difference in our community, and especially within the Black experience. That is a very good question to ask. I know when I applied to Boston College, that was one of the first questions I asked. And for me, if a university does not answer it, then it's a problem. And Boston College definitely answered it for me. The support network that's there, let it be with Black faculty and staff or faculty and staff administrators. So to see that, and at the same time, within our Black Student Forum organization, within our Black Christian Fellowship organization, and the myriad of other organizations here on campus that are student-based. Man, there are so many Black-based student organizations on campus, let it be with Caribbean Culture Club and Plateau Presenting Africa to You, and many, many others. You see a situation where the administration is very supportive, and the students are supportive of each other, and the faculty and staff are supportive of each other. So for me, it's a situation where, yes, it can be with these challenges, but at the same time, to see that not only the administration, but the faculty and the staff and the students are stepping up to address it, for me, it's warm and welcoming to know that that's there. Does anybody else want to chime in?
And I just want to add to that. I've been at Boston College for 18 years, and I have to say, it's not like it used to be. We've progressed. And I have to say, because of the administration that is there at Boston College, and my colleagues, even my colleagues here on this webinar, that we have definitely gathered together as a force to make sure the students are supported. And it's so much inclusiveness that, again, it's not like it used to be. And we're getting better. There's still a lot of work to do, but this year's class has done so much. There's a group called Faces that addresses these kind of issues, and the student population and the community has even gotten more unified because everyone now is having those conversations about it. And what I like about it, the students are taking charge. We're hearing their voices now. And I have to say, BC has come a long way. And being a woman of color on campus, I feel comfortable that because I've been supported, not only me, but the students that look like me.
Amen. Amen. I'm gonna have this question directed specifically to Drew, since Drew's a more recent grad than myself or Yvonne. Did you feel as if you fit into the school? Were you able to form a diverse group of friends at BC?
Yeah, and I was gonna chime in as well and say the experience being a younger panelist, the experience at BC for me, and what I see is what you make of it. There are, and what I've learned in my short year and a half being here, there are a plethora of aforementioned resources available to you to kind of develop and form community. And now when I think about my experience and how I fit into BC, I had a little bit different experience because I had a built-in network. I played football here as well. So I had my football teammates. I had 100 people I knew the first day I started school. But what I saw outside of that is the Black community at BC is very strong, and it's a very tight-knit community. And then BC as a whole, students are open, and if you're open to get outside your comfort zone and go to an organization or go to an event and show up and introduce yourself, make new connections, people are open and willing to accept you into that group. So it's definitely that.
Excellent. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it. Another question we have is this kind of goes along the lines of what Ms. Smiley was mentioning about being a person of color, specifically being a woman of color at campus. Is BC a safe environment for women? If yes, how?
Well, I have to say yes, amen, and yes, because there's so many support systems. We have the Women's Resource Center. First of all, that's a department that's specifically honed in for women, and not just it's women of color, women of all nations, all sorts. Whether you're white, black, it doesn't matter. They support all the women on campus. And what I like about it too, there's also Sisters Let's Talk that comes right out of KB's office. That with the administrators and the young ladies get together. We just did a retreat the other day, and it was called Black Women Matter, BWM. And I was a part of that. And just to see women of color get together, administrators and students, it was so powerful. So I know that we've been supported and continue to be supported, because I get with my administrators, ladies that look like me, administrators, and I get with the students that also look like me. And together we support each other. And it's a lovely space to be in.
Can I just add, going
Please.
back to what you said, Reverend, that BC is not isolated from the rest of the world, right? So things happen on campus, and that's a reality. A few things, all schools have to publish our crime statistics. So that's available to you. You can look on our police's website for that. But I do think BC works really hard to educate our students about what's acceptable on campus and how we expect for you to be as a BC student. That includes all first-year students go through what we call a bystander training, really, which is about how do we take care of each other? How do we help each other, make good choices? How do we help each other make sure that we're keeping each other safe, whether we're on campus or maybe if we go off campus into the city? And so I think BC really is trying to do a good job at preventing situations from happening, helping students kind of navigate life as an independent adult and try to make safer choices. And then that there's a system in place to support students when and if something ever happens to them. And that's a robust system of folks who work together to make sure students have access to any resources that they need.
Excellent. Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate you. And there's a question about that. Could some of you speak to the types of situations that students would seek you out for? I mean, I could go first. I guess the obvious for me, it's those who are looking for spiritual support and pastoral care, especially when it comes to faith traditions that may not have a presence on our campus, at least in a formalized sense. Because my job is I'm managing all the religious groups on campus. So we have a couple of faith traditions that aren't recognized yet, mostly because they're on campus when students request them. And then we go through a formalized process of having them recognized on campus. So we have roughly over 18 religious groups on campus, with a couple that are still in process. And ultimately, my job will be connecting students to those faith groups, and at the same time, to religious leaders of those faith traditions as well. So that's mostly when folks come seek us out. And at the same time, also to connect to other departments and other offices, let it be financial aid, let it be mental health, that sort of stuff. And we serve as a hub to other departments as well.
I would echo that and add that all the folks on the call today are phenomenal conversation partners. Seek us out now, just for conversation. Use us as a resource to navigate the campus even before you arrive in the fall, right? And so you have our faces, you have our names, you know where we work here on campus. So seek us out, because again, all that you can do, and the earlier the better, right? And so as Caroline mentioned earlier, access support early. Don't wait until you need support to reach out for support. Find us now. We are here on campus waiting for you. As Ms. Smiley mentioned earlier, We're excited about your coming to Boston College. We want to partner with you right now. And as Paul mentioned earlier, we want to be with you on this 4-year journey. And so a way you might reach out specifically to my office here at Learning to Learn, as I mentioned before, if you're going to graduate school, if you're going to get a PhD, if you're looking for support for the transition from high school to college, if you're looking, as Reverend just said, for another service, where you find our office first, we are phenomenal by way of reaching out for you, with you, to other offices, right? And so BC runs on relationships. This is true for you as well. And so it's an opportunity for you to reach out to us, have us as a conversation partner, and then we can identify any number of other opportunities for you and folks for you to visit with across the campus so that you can then broaden and stretch and grow your BC network of support.
And I'd like to add to that, Katie, thank you. Students usually seek us out for financial assistance. Now, there's a lot of retreats and mission trips that students go on, like the Kairos and study abroad and different things that they get involved in on campus. And mainly the thing that we advertise is books. You're probably sitting there, oh, that office is going to pay for my books. No, we're not going to pay for the books. We'll loan you out a book. And if you need a book, an extra book, we do support financially. So that's one of the things. Another thing that our office does, I like to highlight, that every student gets a Go Pass. So what that Go Pass does is allow you to get into every game on campus, whether it's football, basketball, whatever the game may be. So we also give access to that as well. So again, the retreats and the immersion trips is something that we definitely support students. As I shared earlier, in terms of financial, you shouldn't have used that as a barrier to, to not allow you to get involved as a student at Boston College. And I'll give you a little secret. KB said that we're conversation partners. So let me give you a little secret. I was born and raised in London, England, and I love to drink a lot of tea. So come and talk to me. All right? Thank you.
That is probably the first time I heard you speak with the Queen's English. My heart is warmed. As an Episcopal priest, my heart is warmed to hear you speak in that tone. A couple of questions have popped up as well. If a student has a physical disability, is the campus difficult to navigate? And are there any accommodations that are provided for the students?
I can answer that one. This is Brittney speaking. That's a great question. And if you've been to campus, you've probably noticed that it's built on a hill. So I'm not going to lie, it's not the most physically accessible campus if you have a physical or mobility disability. However, I know BC has a lot of plans in the works, some long-term plans to make especially upper campus, where a lot of the first-year students live, more accessible. There are pathways to that area currently for students. It just takes a little bit longer. But for students with physical disabilities, we are always working to increase accessibility across campus, working with administrators, working with our student group on campus, the Council for Students with Disabilities, who does a lot of great advocacy work. And to your question about accommodations, yes, we do have an accommodation. We have something called Eagle Escort, which is a van service that's run by the BC Police Department. So if you are a student with a physical or temporary physical disability, you can be approved for Eagle Escort, and they will provide you rides to different areas around campus. So that is one service that we provide.
Excellent, Brittney, appreciate it. Here's a question. I know that college is not simply about the tuition, room, and board cost. Sometimes there are other aspects of the college experience that cost money. So how does BC help students who have a lot of financial need? How will I not miss out on things that others do not have a lot of need participate in? And I think, Yvonne, you mentioned it briefly. I think Brittney, you mentioned it briefly as well. So if others or if you two want to expand upon that, by all means. I mean, I guess I'll go ahead. I'll expand upon it a little bit. I know we have multiple departments at Boston College that have some resources that be able to expand upon what you've been given in terms of your financial need. Boston College is a need-blind institution, and as such, we don't look at your financial need when you're accepted. So the university as a whole, in terms of admissions officers, know what your need is. But when you apply to financial aid, you do have an opportunity to appeal the financial aid. But at the same time, we do have other officers with resources that are there. As Ms. Yvonne spoke about, we have Montserrat, the Montserrat office, as well as the Bowman Ahana Intercultural office as well, has financial resources to be able to help our students be able to succeed at BC. And there are just a plethora of many other ones, but those are the two that are coming to mind at this point. Once again, as a first generation student, I definitely had a lot of financial need. Coming out of a single parent home from the inner city, it was definitely something that I really needed to be able to succeed at BC, was a little bit of extra. And without a doubt, during my matriculation at Boston College, I was able to receive that. And I can say I had a very great experience at BC in terms of being able to participate in all the things that are the hallmark of a BC experience, the football games, the hockey games, the different balls and boat cruises and that sort of stuff. I was able to participate in all that with the help of different offices and as well as with my work study job. So at least that's from a personal lens. And does anyone else want to be able to offer a little bit more? If not, we can move on to the next question.
Well, just to add that if there's a student on the call that is still waiting for any of their financial aid packaging, definitely feel free to connect with your admissions counselor, which is available on all of your portals. Once you open up, you'll see you can meet your admissions counselor, and it can start there. And then we will, take it over to connect you with financial aid, work with you and financial aid to make sure that your application is complete, everything is in. And then if there's some type of appeal or some new information, we want to work with you at that point as well. So if there is a concern about your financial need, pre-coming to Boston College, let's work together on that. Once you come to BC, I'm sure you've heard there are quite a few resources available for you to be able to do things like go to a football game, to be able to take advantage of some of the things that all students at Boston College are able to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Ooh, good question. I know that Boston College is a predominantly white institution. If I come from a background similar to what Reverend Hairston just described, will I really fit in? And because they referenced me, I'm not going to answer this question. So I'm looking at the rest of my panelists to answer this question. Even though I'm actually a little bit stationary now, I'm not answering it. So I'm leaving it up to y'all. We just have to sit in the silence if none of you answer.
I'll take a stab at it to start. I think no matter your background, you will either fit in or you won't fit in. It depends on what you do, the effort that you make. And so I want to channel out my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who talked about without struggle, there's no progress. And so I think we have to all be open to struggling right now. And I'll just be transparent. I'm struggling right now. As a Black man, it is difficult to just live and to breathe, right? Given all that we've seen over the last week, even, not the last year, but the last week, by way of disproportionate effects of COVID-19, Black men being killed, children being killed, members of the Sikh community being targeted and killed. This is a very difficult time for all of us. And so I'm finding it very difficult right now to fit in anywhere, right? At Boston College, at home, driving up and down the road. And so I think it's important for all of us, as I mentioned earlier, to find our folks, to find our community, to develop our community. And so our hope is that you'll join the Boston College community where we know there's support for you. And so if you're struggling to fit in, whatever that means for you, there's someone on this call, there's someone at Boston College who is committed to you and will help you to fit in. We also have information overload. On the very first day, the first Friday of the fall semester, and hopefully this is coming back in person this fall. On the very first Friday of the semester, we have our student involvement fair, where organizations There are thousands of people everywhere. And it's an opportunity for you to reach out to an organization that you think you might fit. Again, selfishly, we have a first gen club at Boston College that will welcome you with open arms if you're first gen, even if you're not. Every organization here, by way of your major, by way of your interest, is here waiting for you as members of the class for 2025 to join that organization and to find your way at BC, right? And so it's an opportunity for you to figure out how to fit in, how best to fit in, how to find your people, how to find folks that will support you, that will encourage you, that will prop you up when you're feeling weak. And so I think it's important not to make it automatic, right? And so be you a white student, a Black student, a brown student, a red student, transitioning to college will be difficult. It's how you transition. It's how you respond to the prompt of transitioning that will make all the difference. And so I want to say again, seek out support early and often. And I believe, given all the support that's available to you at Boston College, you'll be just fine. Will you struggle? Yes. Will you be fine? Yes. Without struggle, there can be no progress. Frederick Douglass.
Amen.
I love that. And I have to say, I've been at Boston College for 18 years. Do I fit in? Yes, because I'm not going anywhere. And I've also heard this quote: you don't wait for somebody to invite you to the table, bring your own chair. So, and for many years, I brought my own chair, because a lot of times you wait for people to invite you in. You've got to be comfortable to invite yourself into different communities. And I have to say, take that leap of faith, be uncomfortable to get comfortable. How are you going to progress if you don't have that courage to meet new people, talk to folks? And you're sitting here today and watching us on this panel. There's a lot of diversity here. And as we're sharing with you today, reach out. You've got the first dibs of us. First dibs. I mean, you're sitting here today saying, oh my goodness, I got Drew, I got Karl, I've got Brittney, I've got Karl Bell, I've got Reverend Days, and I got Miss Smiley. This is enough for you to just reach out to us and have those conversations and be okay. You're going to be just fine.
If I can just ask the panelists at this point, if they could add their email addresses, if they could rename themselves, so students will be able to connect with you either after the panel. Thank you.
Hey man, you have to work with me. I'm over here on the iPads. I'm trying to make that work, brother. Give me a second. So I'll try to get that in a second. Thank y'all very much for those answers. They were. You referenced Frederick Douglass and Shirley Chisholm in your answers. So I already know how much more you go from there. And this is interesting when I was asked a little earlier, and I wanted to tie it in. How do the Jesuit ideals impact you as members of the Boston College community? I can start because I'll be honest with you, when I applied to Boston College back in the day, I didn't know what a Jesuit was. I could barely say the word Jesuit. I just said Society of Jesus because I could say those words. It wasn't until I eventually attended Boston College where I noticed and learned about the Jesuit ideals, and it's something that really spoke to me and ultimately helped me reconcile the calling to go into the ministry as a Baptist minister, eventually an Episcopal priest, the men and women for others, and constantly seeking truth and seeking God. Those sort of things really spoke to me. So for me, it's something that's very foundational, not only as my faith identity, but my identity as a person. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even be in this uniform if it wasn't looking at those ideals of serving men and women for others, or serving our society, or serving something bigger than me. I wouldn't be in this uniform, and I just wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. It's definitely something that really spoke to me. Did anyone else want to share about how the Jesuit ideals speak to them?
I'll share a little bit. Because I'm thinking also what you just said, KB and Miss Smiley. For me, working here is really about caring for the whole person and thinking about our students as whole people, right? So when you come into my office, you're not just a student with a disability or an LGBTQ student. We're thinking about who you are and how we can be present with you fully as all that you bring to the table, right? And I don't know that I have been in a place that asked that of me explicitly before. And I think at BC, we really do try to think of each other as whole people and to be present with each other. And that means through joy and through tribulation, right? So finals, that might be a challenge, but we're all in there with you, right? And we're there for all the joyous times too. And so I think in one way, that is also how we do our work for queer and questioning students, right? That we're asking you to be your full authentic self. And that is part of what it means to be at a Jesuit institution. And so we embrace people fully as they are.
Excellent. Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate you. Not sure if I answered all the questions. I mean, we started going through these questions pretty fast. Here we go. Here's one. Yes.
There's a question in the Q&A that I would love to address. It's about careers in finance and consulting, if you don't mind.
Yep, that was the one I was going to go for, Drew. Go take it away.
Yeah, so Edward, just in terms of access to different resources available and things you're interested in career, my role, so I don't know if you're Carroll School, MCAS, or something else, but if you're a CSUM, look me up. If you're not CSUM, look me up, send me an email. I'd love to connect with you. If there's also another resource for Grill Robinson, he's great as well. Will be very helpful. But specifically for me, in terms of my work that I do, I really focus on making sure that our Black students are aware of all the different career options that are available, especially at these high finance and consulting firms, because there are a ton. And, you know, we've seen from this past year, they've even placed more emphasis on getting diversity in their recruiting. So that's been put as a high priority for them. So from freshman year, these firms, they want to get introduced to good talent. And so if you come in here, you be a strong student academically, you will stand out to these firms. So, you know, the best thing you can do when you get here is to, one, make sure your academics are in top shape. Because GPA matters. It's kind of the cutoff, it's the baseline that they look at for one of the things, but that gets you in the door. And then from there, there are just so many programs that firms offer that are focused on diversity recruiting. So Black, Latinx, disability, etc. So there's plenty of options, and I would really implore you to talk to me, look me up when you decide to come to BC.
If I got to add anecdotally, for me, and maybe I'm stepping a little bit out of bounds here, I'm honestly say that I haven't had difficulty getting a job by virtue of Boston College. I'll be honest with you. Our network is large. It's beyond what I really even thought it would be. Even in the military, I was overseas in Afghanistan, and the two of the commanders were Boston College alums, myself, and there was like two others. It was me being a chaplain, one being a JAG officer, one being an intel officer, another one being the deputy commander, and one being I think he was a company commander. And just to be able to see this range of BC experience, and the irony is none of us did ROTC to do it. We all kind of just came to the military through various venues, and ultimately it was by virtue of the Jesuit ethos of men and women for others. But being able to expand in those communities as a BC alum definitely helped out. From military to me being a priest, to me being a teacher in the prison system, to the variety of different arenas in which I've been blessed to serve in. Boston College has definitely been on the forefront of that. And it's just a testament to not only the ability to get employment as a BC alum, but at the same time, just the networks and communities we're able to build with one another. Here we go, a couple more questions. I know our hour's coming down, but I'll make sure I answer a couple of these other questions. What is your favorite part of your role at BC? I'll start, see that I'm still talking. For me, my favorite part of my role is really the connection with students and walking them through their faith wherever they are. Our job is to convert you or to get you to believe in Jesus and go off and become a priest. That's not our job. Our job is just to help you grow in your own faith. So for me to be able to participate in a Ramadan celebration with my Muslim students, for me to be able to participate in a bar mitzvah for 4 of our women who are seniors, and all of them have their bat mitzvahs together, and to be able to help work within that, and to be able to offer up a prayer in the midst of that. something that really spoke to me. Being able to participate in meditation with my Buddhist students is something that really connected to me. Attending someone's RCIA confirmation service for our Roman Catholic students, being able to participate in these very seminal moments in their lives is something that really spoke to me. Even those who may not have any sort of faith identity, but to see them say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go to my friend's confirmation because that's my friend. Even though I may not ascribe to this faith group, that's my friend who I share space with, who I'm connected to. I just want to go and be able to be part with them. So for me, those moments of just being to meet folks who are outside my demographic, who are outside my worldview, to be able to sit down and connect with them is my absolute favorite part of being at Boston College.
I can talk a little bit about my favorite part. I mean, I'm only a graduate student, but I've worked in the office for 2 years, and I really love, like you said, Reverend, working and connecting with our students. Some students come to us, in a time of great need, disability-wise, and other students are just really proactive about wanting to set themselves up for as much success as possible. And so I really try to meet each student where they are and work with them to facilitate that access to classes, to transportation, whatever it might be. And forming those connections and those relationships with students has definitely been my favorite part. And really quickly, I just want to touch on one other question that's in the chat, asking if it's too late to disclose their disability and how they would do that. It's never too late to disclose your disability. And I'll just say disclosing your disability is a personal choice. You're not at all required to. But if you do want to receive services or accommodations, then you do have to disclose and provide documentation. For the Disability Services Office, you would just go to our website. It's bc.edu/disability, and I'll put it in the chat. Right on our homepage there, we have our registration process. It's 3 steps. You have to do a registration form, meet with a member of staff, and upload documentation. It's pretty quick and easy, but I will say it's much better to be proactive about the process. Even if you don't think that you'll need accommodations, it's always better to have them in place and not need them than to need them and try and get them set up really quickly, because that's not always possible last minute. So like I said, we're always here to help, and I'll put our website in the chat.
Thank you, Brittney. I was looking for that. I was trying to make sure I phrased the question properly, so I'm scrolling through looking for that very question. So thank you for catching it. So a couple more of you definitely want to make sure that you answer the question about your favorite part of BC in your role.
I was going to go to what Karl said earlier about serving as a support person for students. So this isn't atypical to other schools, but there is like a BC perfect. And I would say literally 99% of the students I meet with are like, I'm the only one struggling. And I'm like, well, that's not true, because I meet with hundreds and hundreds of students. So, struggle is part of the human condition, right? And asking for help from other people is the way we grow and go through that struggle. And I think so. I'm a first-gen student. I came from a high financial need family. And I really had learned that I needed to do it by myself, that I put my head down, I worked really hard. And if I just worked hard enough, then it would be enough, right? And there are so many people who are here for you. And I love being the person who can sit with the student and be like, so your struggle is something we can help you get through. And that part of becoming an adult in the world is knowing that asking for help is just a normal part of being human, and that we all grow through being able to do that. And I think setting you up for a lifelong journey of being in community with other people where we give and receive help when people need it.
Thank you.
I will echo that 100%. I think normalizing struggle is in part my favorite part of the job that I do at Boston College. There is this idea of, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Let's not self-diagnose ourselves. Let's say that we are a community. And so my favorite part of working at Boston College is walking students through their transition and seeing them grow. Watching that first year student that deciding student choose a major, that high school senior plus a month in the summer before college begins, and then seeing that same senior 4 years later and being able to witness, because many of you won't be able to see it in yourself, but we can see it in you. And it gives us great joy to know that we had a small part to play in helping you get from your first year to your second year, from your second year to your third year. And I didn't graduate magna cum laude or summa cum laude or cum laude. I graduated thank you laude, and I am here today to tell you all that you too can do it. So come on, let's make this journey, and let's make it happen.
Amen, brother. Amen.
And lastly, I graduated with the same thing. Cum laude, yes, see you later, yes, sir. And you know what I like about my job? I get to be authentic and transparent. When the students come into my office, because we are located in a house, as you come into the house, you see my face and all you see is joy. That's why I got that name of Smiley. And if I sit down with a student and we're talking holistically. I want to know who you're dating, who you broke up with, and I just want to know all your business, because Boston College is not just academics. I want to know what your life is all about. So I'm there, and we sit down and have my tea, like I told you, and just being real with each other, because like Karl said earlier, we all struggle. So let's talk about it, because when you have somebody to talk about it with, you feel more comfortable. So come to Boston College so we can sit down and have those conversations. Come, you've got the right place. All right.
Amen. Amen. I think Drew, did you reflect on this question? And after that, I see Paul popping with a screen. I'll kick it to him.
No, I wanted to jump in, and unfortunately, my favorite part about being back at BC is unfortunately been put on hold because of the pandemic. But I think just the atmosphere of being on the college campus, being around the energy, the bright-eyed students from freshman to senior year really makes a difference in the kind of day-to-day. It brings a light to my day. And similar to what Karl said, I haven't seen the full development yet, but I know working with students and seeing, I've worked with a few Black students specifically, and to say, they start out, I don't know what I'm going to do in this year. They just committed to work in the financial services industry, and their whole lives is going to be impacted because of that, because they've made that decision. And I had, in my thought, I feel like I did very little, but to them, it's a whole mountain worth of work. But to know that I was able to impact and have that impact on them is awesome. So I'm hoping that with the mass spread of vaccinations that, next semester, fall semester 2021, we'll have some sense of the normal college experience, people coming into work more often, being able to meet with students in person, doing not as many Zoom events to get that energy back. But that's what, in my short time at BC, that's what I've really enjoyed.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Drew. Thank you. Yeah, this has been awesome. This has been great. I'm gonna kick it over to Paul, who is a gentleman who I've been knowing for a number of years, since I matriculated as an 18-year-old kid. The hair is gone now, Paul. I had a fro back then with braids and everything. Cornrows and everything. It was a while ago. But it's once again, it's a pleasure and privilege to have joined you all. And Paul, take it away.
Once again, Reverend James, you never seem to amaze me. Your talents, I really do appreciate. Even your ability to moderate and drive, man. I'm really impressed with that. I wouldn't be able to do that, but no, very impressive. Once again, thank you to all the panelists. We really appreciate it. It's such an honor to work and to serve students with you. And the one thing I'm feeling, and I know some of the students have felt it too, is just the intentional passion that we all have here. And we all take our role seriously. We all understand that students, they're not an interruption. We're here for you. And I'm hoping that you understand as an admitted student, try not to take our acceptance lightly. Take it personally, because we did. We are seeing that you have certain talents that we want to help form. We want to formulate those talents here at BC. We want you to evolve. We want to be on that journey with you. We want to knock down some of the barriers. We want to teach you how to get around those barriers. We really want you to get the most out of these formative 4 years. I know a lot of people say college is the best 4 years of your life. I believe it's the years you get out because of the skills that you receive when you're in college. And the people on this call, they are experts on teaching you how to receive those skills, how to get the best return of your investment, and how to pick up friendships and values along the way. And I know as high school students, sometimes it's difficult to think that you are going to have better relationships than your principal, than your teachers, than your coaches. But I guarantee you, you will. You will know these cell phone numbers of these people. You will be at their homes. They will be at your graduation. They'll be at your weddings. They'll be at your future accomplishments because of that family feeling, the holy place. And I know that holy sounds like it has something to do with religion. It doesn't. It's a unique individuals all in the same common goal. And that's what Boston College is about. It's about making sure that you're here to have an impact, not just for your family, but for the sake of others. So once again, I really appreciate all of your attention over the hour. I appreciate the panelists for sharing a Sunday afternoon with us. And I hope to see all of you soon. Please stay tuned for more of our webinar, all of our virtual content. There's some amazing content there, especially dealing with our students. Take advantage of it. Visit our website. You'll see all of that content. We have another program coming up next Thursday. Please feel free to tune in. We appreciate you guys sticking around this Sunday afternoon, and congratulations once again. And we hope to see you here in the fall at Boston College. Thanks again.